My Radio Show with Rick Garcia is coming to you live from your hometown station in Old Town Newhall, California. Now, My Radio Show with Rick Garcia.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to My Radio Show. I'm Rick Garcia. Boy, here we're moving into the weekend again. It seems like these weekends are getting here faster and faster. I think that's a good thing, though. Welcome to My Radio Show. I'm Rick Garcia. I think I said that. Is there an echo in here? It's like being in a cave or something. You're listening to us on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM. And you're watching us on Facebook Live. Hi, Facebook folks. How you guys doing? You can catch us there at KHTS Radio. You can also find My Radio Show on YouTube and My Radio Show podcast on your KHTS radio app or at your hometownstation.com. We highly encourage you to participate in the show as well by calling in at 661-298-5487. Put that on your speed dial, 661-298-5487. All right, time now for My Headlines.
My Headlines.
My Headlines brought to you by Western Bagel. All's quiet on the front. The Dodgers made very little noise as Major League Baseball's trade deadline came and went. The team has been plagued by injuries in some areas of depth, which they attempted to take care of. No major moves, though. They were unable to add anyone from outside to strengthen the back end of their bullpen, opting rather to handle things in-house, which I think is going to be a great idea, to be honest with you. The agent for Chargers star running back Melvin Gordon reportedly asked the team for a trade last week. The Chargers have not expressed an interest in parting ways with Gordon, and so they have not given his agent any permission to seek trading with another team at this time. Rams wide receiver Robert Woods woke up $3 million richer recently. His contract is not up for 3 more seasons, but the Rams felt Woods had outperformed his deal, and so they generously said, why wait? The last of 3 federal lawsuits against NFL referees over that blown call in the Rams-Saints Conference Championship game has been dismissed. However, a state lawsuit in Louisiana will go on. Rams running back Todd Gurley tells reporters, what's with the bad juju? Gurley doesn't want constant questions about his injured knee to come back to haunt him. And the Clippers' charismatic owner Steve Ballmer told the LA Times that he could see a scenario where the team might actually change its name someday. Now, the Clippers will move from Staples Center to a new arena in Inglewood in 2024. Those are my headlines. Now, let's dig into some of these stories. April Duran is here, and Patrick, who's flying the plane for us, Patrick Suika. So, do you feel confident driving the plane, by the way?
Absolutely, Rick. I'm here for you.
April, welcome back. You had a nice little
getaway.
Are we allowed to talk about that, or is this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes,
How'd it go? What'd you do?
Well,
Make us jealous.
I did absolutely nothing.
I'm
I
jealous.
enjoyed the beach. I made sure I had a couple cocktails. I enjoyed the sun. Went to Disney World. I've never taken 10 days off.
I just figured out where you went, though, because there's a lot of sun. And you said Disney World.
Oh, yeah.
Disney
I think
World.
that might help. Yeah.
Florida?
Florida.
Yeah.
East Coast. So the humidity was not that bad. I know everybody was like freaking out, telling me, you better watch out. It was great.
Did you see any alligators?
I did. I saw a live little baby alligator.
Isn't that crazy?
Just in a pond.
They're all over the place over there.
And they're like dogs. They're like loose dogs out there. It's crazy.
They're like loose dogs. Yeah, you don't want to pet them, though.
You know what? We jumped out of the car, and a Floridian told us, get back in. So heads up, if you ever go to Florida, don't try to go near the alligators.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. Well, so Patrick, you were not in Florida, where you were here with me last weekend. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Here in sunny Southern California.
Yeah, and you came back in spite of everything we went through last week?
Oh, always, Rick. Oh, no, we're having tons of fun here.
Are we having fun?
Always, Rick.
Right,
come on.
Let's have some more fun. I want to talk about, and again, I'm going to remind everybody, if you want to call in and be part of the show, 661-298-5487. Also on Facebook, if you're on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio, if you want to post something and ask us a question, we will answer it that way as well. Or if you want to just put in your 2 cents and make a comment. So Melvin Gordon, he's a running back for the I just messed up. Los Angeles Chargers. It's hard really for me, honestly, to bring myself to call them the Los Angeles Chargers.
I know, right?
To me, they're always going to be the San Diego Chargers. That's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Right.
It just doesn't feel right that they're the Los Angeles Chargers now. And I will be consistent on that. I have the same issue with the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles.
Oh,
or
I know,
whatever they
right?
want to call themselves, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
I scratch my head every time.
It's nutty, I'm telling you. So last week we had, April, you weren't here, but we had the general manager of the Chargers, Tom Telesco, on the show.
I saw that.
He did, yeah.
And we were talking about this whole Melvin Gordon holdout, which is not uncommon in the NFL. Players hold out a lot. And right now, spring training, or I should say training camp in the case of the NFL, for the Chargers is taking place in Costa Mesa. Gordon is not there. A handful of players are sitting out right now, and they're holding out for bigger contracts. At the time we talked to Telesco, I don't know if he'd been notified by Gordon's agent that Gordon would like to be traded. This agent represents Jarvis Landry. He managed to orchestrate a trade that got Landry moved from Miami to Cleveland. So, a lot of this is strategy and the dynamics of a situation like that. The problem, as I see it, and I'm inclined to lean with the team in this regard, running backs are a special breed. They're so important to a team. I know the Rams, it's important to have Todd Gurley. They will tell you their passing game is, as one Southern coach once said to me, our passing game is predicated upon a run. Passing game predicated upon a run.
I like that accent.
And that's really truly how it works. You set the passing game up through your running game. Running backs are so essential. They're so important. If you have a good running game, you're going to be a good passing team. They just seem to go hand in hand. Absolutely. If you can't run the football, then you have to rely on that quarterback a little too much. Here's the problem, though. Running backs, their life expectancy in the NFL is about 2.5 years.
Yep.
Wow.
That's about right.
Now the Rams, and in the interest of full disclosure, I'm a Rams season ticket holder. I'm a fan of the Rams.
Lucky.
When they gave Todd Gurley a big fat, I think it was like a $50 million contract last time around, I was nervous about that because running backs tend to get hurt. They get banged up easily. So I thought, boy, you want to spend your money like that.
Yeah.
Other teams like the Cowboys waiting on Ezekiel Elliott, what do we do with him? The Chargers with Melvin Gordon, how much do we want to pay him? So they're talking about a $10 million per year contract is the report that the Chargers are willing to spend. Gordon wants more. Let's listen to what Tom Telesco told me last week. Los Angeles Chargers general manager Tom Telesco joining us on my radio show. Okay, let's dig into the personnel. Your star running back Melvin Gordon is holding out of camp. He's one of a handful of players who are doing that. He's hoping for a new deal. Where do the Chargers stand with Melvin Gordon today?
Yeah, I mean, no change today than the last couple of days, and we were just talking about the word balance, trying to balance a tough practice with players recovering, and we have to balance the same thing with contracts. We try to balance getting the player the contract that he feels is right, and then on the team side, trying to find a contract that works well for the team with the other 52 players that we'll end up with at the cut to 53, his 52 teammates. We can build the team the way we need to build it, and not only for this year but for future years. So it's a simple question, but it's a hard answer to find out sometimes when you have to try and find that balance between those two. So right now we would love Melvin to be here, and he's been such a big part of this football team. And for us, when you see a player that you draft, you see him develop and turn into the player he's been. It's very gratifying, and he can help us win. He's a great kid too. Well, he's not a kid; he's an adult. But he's not here, so we have to go with what we have, and we've got a good group of running backs behind them that are going to have to really step up right now and take on a bigger load. With Melvin not being here.
So last season, Le'Veon Bell, who was a running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, held out and then basically held out for an entire season, which made him a free agent, and then he was able to sign with whoever he wanted. He signed with the New York Jets. So this is not an uncommon thing. So let me put it this way, just as an example. April, there you are. The radio station offers you a 5-year deal. At the end of the 4th year, you're trying to lobby for a new contract. If you go home, they're pretty much going to say goodbye to you, aren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's different. It's different for the regular person.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's it, right? I mean,
that's true.
I mean, so on one hand, I'm wondering, do you understand that? I guess this is kind of a negotiating ploy, but the rest of America, we can't get away with that. We can't just sit out a couple of radio shows. And it's been done, but you better have a pretty darn good radio show and be pretty successful to get away with that.
And keep pushing and being creative and so forth, moving forward.
If you're working down there at UPS, you can't just start missing your shift, holding out for a new deal, they're going to just say, see you later, and replace you with somebody else.
Exactly. That's usually how it goes nowadays.
And I don't blame these guys for not paying running backs just because, you pay a guy, and then with Todd Gurley, just as an example, last season, then they were all of a sudden talking about him having an arthritic knee after giving him a $57 million contract. So it's a little touchy. I get it.
Yeah.
So you want to pour some salt on the wound a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, the Rams turned around and gave one of their wide receivers, Robert Woods, a $3 million raise.
I love that.
That's a classy move, though.
Now, his contract wasn't up. He's got 2 years left on his deal after this season. But they gave him a raise because they believe that he outperformed his contract.
Has this ever happened before?
It does happen every so often.
Rarely,
some
probably.
teams will do it, not as often because they're not required to. And I think what's happened is receivers since then have raised the bar in terms of contract money so that it's so much more than what the Rams paid Robert Woods. In fact, Woods got a $34 million contract as a free agent out of Buffalo. Woods, by the way, is a USC kid. He goes to the Bills. He becomes a free agent. The Rams signed him to a 5-year, $34 million deal 2 years ago, and everybody thought the Rams were crazy because why are you paying him all that money? Well, the guy 2 years later has 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. If he were a free agent today, he'd be getting a lot more than $34 million, and then you add the $3 million to $37 million.
So they're lucky that I know there's a contract, but they're lucky that he's not trying to move out of. Can they move out of their contract?
You can't get out of your contract. You have to do exactly what's being done in San Diego by Melvin Gordon. You can hold out.
Okay.
And in the case of a player who holds out a training camp, I think the fines are like $40,000 a day if you're not in camp. It depends on your contract, but it could be like $40,000 a day. So
that's something you don't want to do.
But players, it's not uncommon. Well, I shouldn't say it. It's certainly not common, but it does happen in that players in the middle of a contract will threaten all kinds of things if they're unhappy with that.
I'm sure that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the NFC Championship game last year between the Rams and Saints?
I personally did, yes.
You personally?
Oh, you did too?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a Rams fan. Of course I did.
So after that game, there was a really bad call in that game. It was a pass interference play involving Nikel Roby-Coleman and receiver Tommy Jones for the Saints. And it was a play where New Orleans is coming downfield. They're close, if not in the red zone, close to the red zone, I think, of the Rams. And this pass is thrown by Drew Brees. Roby-Coleman makes no effort to get the football. He just blasts into the player and knocks him out of the play. It was a bad call. Referees missed it. The Rams eventually would get the ball back. They would turn around, tie the game. It goes to overtime. Rams win.
Yes.
There were some other missed calls in the game. I don't blame that one call on the reason the Rams won and the Saints lost.
Absolutely not.
However, some fans sued NFL referees.
I can't believe this.
There were 3 federal lawsuits, the third of which was just dismissed recently. And so the only lawsuit that's left is a state lawsuit in Louisiana, as they say down there, where fans, again, are suing for the right to maybe overturn the outcome of that game or have it replayed. And,
what?
And, well, the judge said, listen, the price of a ticket does not give you the right to damages in the event of something like this.
Right. And so is this the first time fans are trying to sue? Probably not, I'm guessing.
This is a litigious country, as they say.
Yes,
so I have a feeling there's been more of this than we're aware of.
The opportunity's there, so they're going to try anything, especially if they're upset with the outcome.
No question. Fans can't live with an outcome sometimes, fair or not. We always make excuses as fans for why our team lost. We mentioned Todd Gurley and his knee. He had surgery when he was a running back at Georgia. He'd finished his college career, was coming out for the NFL draft. I think he had a torn ACL, had surgery performed on the knee. And all of a sudden, we get to last season, and toward the end of the season, he was having problems with his knee. So what they did was they sat him out the last 2 games of the season. He had a great game against Dallas in the playoffs last year, and then didn't do well against the Saints or against New England in the Super Bowl. So he has been hit with a barrage of nonstop questions about his knee, which reportedly has arthritis in it. So he finally said to the reporters, he let him have it a little bit today. He's kind of asking the reporters to quit asking questions about his knee and jinxing him.
I gotta stop putting this bad energy in my knee, man. Just let it be.
But are you eager to just kind of show everyone, that you're fine and you're the same guy that you've been?
No, I'm not eager to do anything. I don't have to prove anything to nobody. I've been doing this for years now, so it's like it's the same stuff every year.
Well, they've got him on a new plan, a new training plan. They've figured out, I guess, a way to maybe have him on the field less time. For running backs, gosh, they spend so much time running, and then during the season they get beat up pretty good. They get pounded hard. So the Rams I think they're thought to be on the cutting edge when it comes to resting players, keeping players healthy, allowing their bodies to bounce back. So we're going to have to wait and see if that comes through or not. Now, a couple of other stories, which hopefully we'll get a chance to dig into a little deeper. I know I will with Dodgers manager Dave Robertson a little bit. But the Dodgers, the trading deadline came and went. The Dodgers didn't make any major moves. I think that's a great thing. I think that's a wonderful thing. They have some big stars in the minor leagues that a lot of teams wanted, rather, and they didn't have to give any of them up. So I'm glad that they didn't make any deals, and I'm going to tell you why coming up. Trading deadline or not, they were quiet. I think it's a good thing. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts is going to join us live in just a few minutes. Plus, we're going to be giving away some free stuff. My radio show with Rick Garcia is brought to you by Western Bagel.
I lost more than a heart could take, but I found you on the way. I found you.
The City of Santa Clarita's free Concerts in the Park series, presented by Logix Federal Credit Union, is back and better than ever. Taking place every Saturday night throughout July and August, the 2019 series features amazing musical acts, including the Replicas and Fleetwood Mac tribute band Mirage. Food and refreshments are available on site. All concerts start at 7 p.m. at Central Park. For this year's full lineup, please visit santa-clarita.com/concerts.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Hometown.
All day long, constantly.
Your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Hometown.
Santa Clarita News.
Your community connection.
Car fire, unhealthy air, and a local actress hits the big screen. Hey, this is Michael Brown with the KHTS News Team. Here's what's going on in Santa Clarita. 3 cars were engulfed in flames in Canyon Country yesterday, temporarily shutting down Soledad Canyon Road. The fire briefly spread to the nearby brush, but firefighters were able to knock it down within minutes. However, the incident created so much smoke that residents were bored seeing it from as far as Valencia. An air quality advisory has been issued for Santa Clarita today. People living or working in our valley with heart disease, asthma, or other respiratory diseases are encouraged to minimize outdoor activities, as well as children with sensitive conditions. Despite air quality improving in the region over the past few decades, the South Coast and Salton Sea air basins continue to have days where pollutants can reach unhealthy levels such as today. This advisory is set to last until this evening. In more fun news, an actress from Valencia scored an on-screen part in the newest movie from Quentin Tarantino. Tony Pilecki can be seen sitting at a table next to Al Pacino and Leonardo DiCaprio in the new film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Pilecki said the experience was absolutely unreal and that she'll never forget how full of life Tarantino was on set. The film is currently playing in theaters. For more on these stories and everything happening in the Santa Clarita Valley, make sure you head on over to hometownstation.com.
Taking a look at our local weather. It is currently 96 degrees in Santa Clarita. This weekend, it's going to heat up 100 degrees Saturday and Sunday and Monday, but we're going to be cooling down into the 90s on Tuesday, if that's what you want to call cooling down.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's our hometown station weather.
It doesn't feel like it's been as hot, though, overall.
I think I'm acclimated, yeah.
Are you? We're just used to it?
I think I just stay inside and I just don't worry about it.
You never go outside.
I try not to.
Thus the translucent quality of your skin there, right?
I mean, hey, I'm on the radio, so no one needs to see
Doesn't
me.
matter. You're right.
You're not. Yeah, right now we can see you.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. Welcome back to my radio show with Rick Garcia. I guess that makes me Rick Garcia at this point. Hi, April. Welcome back from your wonderful trip.
Thank you. I had a
good time.
Awesome trip. Florida's amazing.
And, well, yeah, except for the crocodiles and alligators. That makes
watch out for that if you like your limbs, for sure, and your toes.
Patrick's here, too. He's flying the plane, as I like to say. And how you doing, Patrick?
Oh, I have a wonderful captain. I will say that. You're the best pilot ever.
My best pilot ever.
That's awesome. Yes.
Me and April are your co-pilots, running after you. So.
I'm the flight attendant.
I don't know.
All right. All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
You're the flight attendant. I'll be his co-pilot. I got you, Rick.
You got me covered. You got my back. All right. Thanks, Patrick. How about Rick's replay? I caught the guy flying the plane off guard a little bit.
But
got me.
Got it.
Is it in there?
It is in there. Give me 1 second.
I'm not going anywhere.
Rick's replay.
There you go, Rick.
All right, Dodgers hosting the Padres last night. In fact, they'll be doing that all weekend long. They were trailing 2-1 last night in the 6th inning when rookie catcher Will Smith continued to impress. This guy hit a grand slam to put the Dodgers on top by a score of 5-2. Cody Bellinger added his 35th home run of the season. Clayton Kershaw got his 10th win, and the Dodgers beat the Padres last night by a score of 8-2. All right, sometimes the best trade is the one that you don't make. That's an old expression in sports, and that may be the case, I think, with the Dodgers, who were relatively quiet at the trading deadline. They added Jed Jerko, an infielder from St. Louis, as insurance for the ailing Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, and David Freese. Jerko currently on the injured list as well, but they really need to provide some more depth. That's one thing that I think has been a big strong point for the Dodgers this season is having the extra players and having all that depth. The Dodgers reportedly went after a late-inning reliever, but the price was too high. And the Dodgers hung on to their top prospects. One of them is a guy by the name of Gavin Lux, who's a shortstop in their minor league system and one of the top minor leaguers in all of baseball, and pitcher Dustin May. Dustin May, I think, is going to be kind of a character just from the standpoint that he's got this big bushy mane of red hair. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be, he's again one of their top major league pitchers. A guy can throw hard. He's going to pitch tonight for the Dodgers, who've had some incredible success with their young players going into the season. Alex Verdugo was a guy that I don't think there were any intentions of him starting, but he forced his way into the starting lineup. They're having a hard time preventing their catcher Will Smith from coming up and staying up. He was just incredible again last night. And two of these other kids that are down in the minor leagues, Gavin Lux and Dustin May, were commanding a lot of attention from other teams in Major League Baseball who wanted those players if they were going to make a trade. So the Dodgers did not make a deal with in terms of any major trades, and therefore didn't have to give up any of those young guys, which I think is a great thing.
That's an awesome thing.
Now, again, tonight it's going to be Dustin May pitching against the Padres. You know, when you add that red hair to go along with Justin Turner's big, long red beard.
Mm-hmm. I noticed all the players now, they have their little thing going, their hair and their beard, and it used to never have that before.
You can't even see their faces anymore.
I know. They're like rock stars. They are rock stars.
All the bushy hair. By the way, the Padres and the Dodgers are going to play again tonight at 7:10 p.m., and you can catch it here on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM. So I'm looking forward to every time the Dodgers bring somebody up. I get a lot of enjoyment watching the kids come up and perform, and then they do well because you know they're bright-eyed. I mean, the eyes are as big as can be when they walk into a major league stadium.
I don't even know how they play. Well, that's their job, though, right?
Sure.
So when they come in, they're stressed out, but they just have to perform
But they're not used to 55,000 people in a stadium. I mean, they're used to taking a bus in some cases from minor league stadium to minor league stadium where you get a few thousand people. It's not It's not like 55,000, which you'll see at Dodger Stadium.
Talk about pressure.
And on a bad day, there's still 35,000 people in the stadium, but that is a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah, and they still perform. So like you said, it's so awesome to see these young players, performing and doing well.
And there's always a fine line between these guys that actually make it and stay up with the guys who get sent back down to the minor leagues all the time. So the guys that come up and go back down, a lot of these guys are in their early 20s. Smith is one of them. But they've had a succession of these guys who've been successful, going back to, with this recent roster, Jock Peterson, who was a young punk who came up and stayed. Corey Seager came up a season later, and then Cody Bellinger came along. And now it looks like it could be Will Smith, who'd be the next guy that may come up and do something. We'll have to see how that works out. So
right, a lot of Dodger fans in the house here, so I'm sure everybody's
Well, but you're not one of them, are you?
Holding their breath. Oh, I wasn't going to mention that. No, I'm an Angels fan. Sorry, guys.
Oh, I'm a Dodger fan. If it makes you feel any better, Rick.
Yeah. Or do you like you seeing all these young guys come up and play?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just one year it was Verdugo, the other year it was Jock Peterson. It was really good.
And then Cody, of course, and so and here's the thing. I mean, there's no reason to trade away your future.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Dodgers are loaded with talent, and it's going to be. I agree with everything they're doing at this point, because to go get one relief pitcher who may help you through this season. Then if you have to give up too much for that, then that's not always a good thing.
I'm learning so much about baseball right now. It's awesome. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's what I was waiting for. That's the My Radio Show hotline. Mm-hmm. Don't get nervous. Ladies and gentlemen, this man played in the big leagues from 1999 to 2008, including 2 seasons with the Dodgers from 2002 to 2004. He had 243 career stolen bases. Won a World Series in 2004 with the Boston Red Sox, National League Manager of the Year in 2016, and he has 23 postseason wins. Ladies and gentlemen, Dodgers manager Dave Roberts.
Hey, Rick, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Dave, can I share a disappointment with you, though? Is that okay if I can be honest with you for a second here?
I like honesty,
okay.
Please.
In 2004, as a player with the Dodgers, you were my guest analyst on a baseball show that I hosted. Now, I was grooming you for big-time television, but you decided to get in. Hang on. Now, you decided to get into coaching, and 2 World Series appearances later, you become one of baseball's best managers. Was I wrong to think you should have been a broadcaster?
Absolutely not. I appreciate your foresight, your intent. I guess that my trek was meant to be on the field, I guess.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. It's been a stellar young career for you as a baseball manager. All right. Big deadline came and went. No, I guess the old expression, it's better to make no trade than make a bad trade. You guys were standing pat. You kept a lot of your young studs, and that's a good thing, isn't it?
It is, and I think that it's now obviously with media, and there's so much attention to things that potentially could happen, which is great for the game. But I think sometimes the best move is the move you don't make. And you talk about the guys that we were potentially moving, Rick. These are great ball players with high upside and tremendous makeup and character, and these are Dodgers. And so I think that with what we did, standing pat, with what we have internally, I still expect to win a championship here in 19.
Dustin May goes tonight. A lot of people talking about this kid. By the way, are you having a lot of fun watching the Will Smiths and the Beatties and possibly Dustin May tonight play so well in front of these big crowds?
Oh, I am. And I think that these are guys that are really fun to root for. And, Will Smith coming up with all these big hits and these homers and what he's doing with our pitching staff and just have so much success early. And it's just when you know the guy and you can really root for him, and he's a part of really what we're doing now and going forward. And Dustin, it's going to be fun to watch him making his debut here at Dodger Stadium. And you got to get past the hair because it's a lot of hair and it's red. But I'll tell you right now, Rick, this guy's got tremendous stuff. He's going to go out there and compete, and he's going to be demonstrative, but it's real, and it's going to be a fun night.
Dave, let's talk analytics. Statistical information gets fed to a computer, and a strategy for games gets spit out. How much of managing is now formula? How much of it is your gut?
Well, I think it's a combo, but I think that's the way. You know what is funny is that's the way it's always been. I think that people kind of are taken aback by the word analytics, but these are facts. And, you know, whether you're Walt Alston or Earl Weaver, there's things that baseball is a statistics-driven game. So now you get this information, and as a manager, you know your players better than anyone, and then you got to make a decision. So it's kind of with baseball, with any industry, you take a lot of information, and then you ultimately make a decision, and that's exactly what I do.
Dodgers manager Dave Roberts on my radio show with Rick Garcia. What's the single biggest difference strategy-wise from when you played?
I think that probably pen usage. I think that's probably things that starters aren't going as deep into games. There's a lot more offense than there ever has been. And I think also lineup construction, where I hit leadoff my entire career, even against Randy Johnson, where it might have been nice to probably hit eighth and take 3 at-bats against Randy instead of 4. You know, so those are things that I think that people, when I came up, you're kind of set where you were at. But the ability now to move guys around the diamond in the order to give yourself a best chance to win that game, I think that's probably been something that's really evolved as well.
Let's go back in time. 2004 in the ALCS, Red Sox are down to the Yankees 3-0. In Game 4, you're put in to pinch run. You steal second base. Who knew a stolen base would change not only the momentum of that game, but the entire series? The Red Sox going to win 4 straight games and the World Series. When you were put in the game at that moment, was that the plan all along to steal a base, or were you ad-libbing? Were you on your own?
Yeah, actually, I was ad-libbing. Tito put the bunt sign on for Bill Miller, and I told our first base coach I was going to steal second base, so looked at Tito. They took the bunt sign off and said, and Lynn Jones, our first base coach, says, okay, kid, do what you do. And so that was that moment. It was like, okay, it's now or never. And, you know, you practice and prepare for big moments like that. And fortunately for me, I was on a great team and a great manager who trusted me to steal a base. And I definitely didn't foresee 8 straight wins in a championship, but it was something that people look at as a turning point, and it's just humbling when I'm spoke in that light.
Well, you know, it's interesting, though, because that season, you, as I mentioned, you were my guest analyst, and it's the first time I've had a guest analyst traded in the middle of a season. So you wind up in the postseason, and I got to tell you, this is one of my favorite interviews, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think it was the actual World Series and not the ALCS, but you were in the dugout getting ready for the World Series, and we had you live from the dugout on your cell phone at that time, talking about taking in that whole aura of the World Series.
Yeah, Rick. You're exactly right. Very good recall, man. And I definitely enjoyed being working with you, and you kind of groomed me. So I had to take from Dodger Stadium on Sundays after games to the postseason with the Red Sox. So and now here we are today.
Let me ask you this. 2010, you were diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. You were eventually given a clean bill of health. What was that time like in your life?
Yeah, it was tough, and I was actually working with the Padres at the time in the front office. And you know what's interesting is I felt a lump in my neck, and if I wasn't working with an organization at that time, it was Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a very aggressive form of cancer. I wouldn't have had that team physical in February, and I would have probably procrastinated, and I got diagnosed at stage 2, and if I wouldn't have taken, if it would have been a couple, 2-3 weeks, it might have went into my bloodstream under my chest, stage 3, and that could have been drastically different. So got it early and did the chemotherapy and the radiation, and I've been cancer-free for, call it 8 years.
Oh, congratulations. Wow. Listen, I know we're almost out of time. Let's play some true false. I'm just going to ask you a question. You can answer true or false. And see if we can learn a little bit more about Dave Roberts. True or false, you were recruited to play quarterback at the Air Force Academy.
True.
True, okay. True or false, instead, you played baseball at UCLA as a walk-on where you graduated with a degree in history.
True.
All right, true or false, you considered quitting baseball in the minor leagues, but Dad talked you out of it.
True.
Oh, okay. True or false, you stole home in your first major league game.
False.
Yeah, I made that up. All right. How about this? True or false? You own a winery along with former Giants teammate Rich Aurelia.
Very true.
And it's Red Stitch?
True.
I have not had a bottle yet of Red Stitch.
All right, Rick, I got to make that happen. You're a cab guy, Pinot guy. I
love cabs. Okay, true or false? The Dodgers trade of Dave Roberts to Boston is the worst trade in franchise history.
Definitely false.
No, but listen, could be true because the Dodgers got a guy by the name of Henry Stanley who was never heard from again.
That's fair. I think the Lionel DeShields for Pedro, that's probably top of mind.
All right, listen, final question. I know you have to go. Dodgers 72-39, 16 games in first place. You play the Padres again tonight. How do you keep those guys from getting complacent?
You know what, Rick? We just don't deal with complacency. Our guys are always trying to get better each day. And this is something that we've been accustomed to, as far as winning baseball games, staying focused on just each day. And I will say this, Rick, when you get young players, you mentioned Matt Beatty, you mentioned Will Smith, obviously Walker Buehler's a young player, but you get guys that are young and hungry. It definitely makes guys that have been around that much better, and also the veteran players like Justin Turner and all those guys helping the young players out. So this culture right now is pretty special, and complacency is something that's definitely not a part of what we do here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Roberts has been our guest on my radio show. Dave, congratulations. Best of luck in the rest of the season, and hopefully next time I see you, we'll be sharing a bottle of Red Stitch Cabernet.
Hey, Rick, thank you so much for having me on, my friend.
All right, I will see you out there soon, I hope. All right, Dave Roberts with us on my radio show. And, boy, I'll tell you what, this guy has been a godsend, really, to the team. I mean, they went through a lot of managers after Tommy Lasorda left, and Dave Roberts has settled in perfectly, has not missed a beat there, and has really done some good things for the Dodgers.
That's so awesome.
Why don't we give some free stuff away?
Let's
we have
do
free
it.
stuff. Everybody likes free stuff.
That makes me excited.
The first person to call 661-298 5487 or message us on Facebook live at KHTS Radio with the right answer to my question will win a $25 gift card to Hanu Coffee.
Ooh.
Yeah. So during my interview just now with Dodgers manager Dave Roberts, we talked about an outside business that he shares with a former teammate. Now, don't answer this when I say this.
Okay, I won't.
Is it a car dealership, a winery, or a laundromat? A car dealership, a winery, or a laundromat, you can call us at 661-298-5487, or you can Facebook us at KHTS Radio. And if you have the right answer, you're the first person. You win a $25 gift card to Hanu Coffee.
And I'm looking out on Facebook Live, so if you want to set out any comments
send a post,
yes.
We'll also any kind of question or comment you have, we'd love to take that as well. Coming up, the LA superstar who admits he's afraid of the dark. Plus, it's an insect invasion in Las Vegas.
It's crazy.
And he won millions playing Fortnite. What is the 16-year-old hoping to buy with all that money? My radio show with Rick Garcia is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia.
Broke kids running through the city, drunk on the subway train. Set free every time you kiss me.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
This is Greg from Consumers Furniture Gallery. For the past 41 years, we pride ourselves on offering quality name brand furniture at unbeatable prices. We carry a huge selection of dining and bedroom furniture in the latest styles and designs. We also have the largest selection of sofas and sectionals in the Santa Clarita Valley. You can choose your style, fabrics, leathers, and colors, or have one of our experts design it for you. Our mattress gallery features over 50 beds featuring Diamond and Serta. Consumers Furniture is located in the Centerpoint Shopping Center below Sam's Club and Walmart.
Our trash has got to go somewhere, and Chiquita Canyon Landfill is helping make the Santa Clarita Valley a little greener. Our local landfill creates clean energy from our waste disposal to power 10,000 homes each year. With their 9.2 megawatt clean energy facility harnessing the landfill's methane gas, you can feel good that the waste from your home in the SCV is helping create a clean energy source. Chiquita Canyon Landfill is our partner in sustainable living.
Chiquita Canyon is helping lead the way to a greener future.
Your hometown station.
I love my Dodgers on KHTS.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Don't hit me up past midnight.
All right. Okay. In this segment, we're going to talk about celebrity birthdays.
Oh, okay. So who am I? We call this Who Am I? All right.
Who am I?
All right.
And I'm going to quiz Rick Garcia. Let's see if you know.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with an actress singer.
Okay.
She was named Miss San Pedro and was a cheerleader for the LA Rams. Best known for co-starring in 1984's hit Purple Rain.
Oh, Apollonia?
Yes.
Wow. Apollonia. Oh, did I have a crush on Apollonia? I mean, me and everybody, right?
I think everybody did. Yes.
Wow.
She's 60 years old today.
Oh, my
Happy
goodness.
birthday,
Happy birthday,
Apollonia.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's the second one. Speedy NFL player who was selected by the Seattle Seahawks in the 2010 NFL Draft second round.
Okay.
He helped the Seahawks win a Super Bowl in 2014.
Not
It looks
Lockett?
like Patrick might
Tyler
know.
Lockett? No.
No.
Okay,
Then signed with the Detroit Lions.
That would be. It wasn't Golden Tate.
Oh my gosh, you're so
Golden
good.
Tate, who, by the way, then went to New York and he got hurt in New York. No, he got suspended in New York. Yeah, with
You're
the
really
Giants. Yeah,
good.
thank you.
I should bring in prizes for you, Rick Garcia. Okay,
Sure.
number 3.
Why not?
Do we have time for number 3?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay, Pro Bowl cornerback who won Super Bowl 48 with the Seattle Seahawks in 2014, then joined the New England Patriots and helped them defeat his old team, the Seahawks, in Super Bowl 49.
Not Devin Cordy, was it?
No.
Let's see.
Do you know Patrick?
Not Rodney Harrison. It wasn't Rodney Harrison. It was
His last name's a color.
Oh.
With a
White, blue, gold.
Should I give it to him?
Yellower? Go ahead. I give up.
Brandon Browner.
Brandon Browner. Okay.
Yes,
All right,
Brandon
those
Browner.
Those are good. Those are good. All right.
Yeah. So, and you're doing great. Like
Thank
I said,
you.
I'm going to
I
bring
did
in
okay.
prizes for you.
I did okay. So a lot of
2 out of
athletes
3.
that time. Okay. Well, thanks for that. It's time for my headlines.
My headlines.
My headlines are brought to you by Western Bagel. All quiets on the front. The Dodgers made very little noise as Major League Baseball's trade deadline came and went. The team has been plagued by injuries in some areas of depth, which they attempted to take care of, but no major moves. They were unable to add anyone from outside to strengthen the back end of their bullpen, opting rather to handle that in-house. I think it's a good call. We just talked to Dodgers manager Dave Roberts a moment ago, and he's
awesome.
perfectly happy to keep all of his young superstars or up-and-coming superstars. The agent for Chargers star running back Melvin Gordon reportedly asked the team for a trade last week. The Chargers have not expressed an interest in parting ways with Gordon, and they have not given his agent permission to seek a trading partner at this time. Rams wide receiver Robert Woods woke up $3 million richer recently. His contract isn't up for 3 more seasons, but the Rams felt Woods had outperformed his deal, and so they generously said, why wait? The last of 3 federal lawsuits against NFL referees over that blown call in the Rams-Saints Conference Championship game has been dismissed. However, a state lawsuit in Louisiana will go on. Rams running back Todd Gurley telling reporters, what's with the bad juju? Gurley doesn't want constant questions about his injured knee to come back to haunt him. And the Clippers' charismatic owner Steve Ballmer told the LA Times he could see a scenario where the team might change its name someday. The Clippers will move from Staples Center to a new arena in Inglewood in 2024. Those are my headlines. Here's what's news to me. So,
News to me.
You guys, April, Patrick, you've heard this about this Fortnite competition, right? I mean, this is
This is crazy.
who knew video
It's
games would
crazy.
lead to extravagant riches.
I know, right?
I have a couple problems with this.
Well, okay, so let me tell you what's going on. Get ready up to speed. The 16-year-old kid wins a Fortnite competition.
Amazing.
And here's the thing. He spends 6 to 7 hours a day practicing for
That's
this,
my
right?
problem. Too much screen time coming from a mom.
But first place was $3 million. Second place, $1.8 million. Third place, $1.2 million. And I want to say there were like 40 million players when they started this thing initially as a competition online, and then it eventually winds up in an arena. But guess what the guy wants to spend his money on?
What?
More video games?
I know.
Well,
video game equipment?
He's 16. He didn't think of a car. He says he wants to invest his money. By the way, he goes by the under the name Bugga.
That's his gamer name.
His gamer name is Bugga, but his name is Kyle Giersdorf.
From Pennsylvania.
He said after winning all that money, he just wants a desk.
A desk?
A game desk? Or
Yeah,
just...
basically a desk, so he could sit and play his video games at the new desk, and the rest of it, he says he's going to invest.
Wow. Okay, so $3 million is a lot of money for anybody, especially a 16-year-old. But to just spend that much time, 6 to 7 hours a day, and he's the winner, and now he just wants to buy a desk. I was hoping maybe he could say, like, he was going to donate some of the money to, a nonprofit.
He might still do that. I think he just doesn't have time to do anything else with the money. He's on his video games all day long, and then he sleeps. That's probably
You're a dad, Rick. What do you think about this?
Boy, I'm mixed because we try to set some controls on the amount of time that our kids are on their phones and on social media and on video games. Some of the video games really are fun, and they're competitive, and they they challenge you a little bit. But I think 6 or 7 hours. I mean, I don't know that. But he made $3 million now. What would you say to your son if he made $3 million?
Well, first of all, he wouldn't even have a chance to win because you said, we limit the screen time. But $3 million, that's a lot of money. This could be looked at as kind of like a sport. So if he won this kind of money in a sport, okay, he's moving, he's being active, it's healthy. But just sitting there, just looking at the screen, I don't know. I'm questioning it up and down, back and forth, because has anyone interviewed his parents?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, I was looking for that because
I imagine they have been. Now, have you guys heard about this? There's an invasion in Vegas.
Yes,
you guys,
I saw the video.
I love Vegas.
Is it Area 51?
It's not Area 51 this time.
I love Las Vegas. I saw the videos. Yes.
And so there's an invasion of grasshoppers in Las Vegas,
and they're big. They're huge.
Well, and so here's the thing: if you've seen the lugs that are over there, it's the pyramid that they built over there, and then they have a big beam of light. It's so bright you can see it all over the strip. In fact, they say that pilots flying planes in the Los Angeles area can even see that beam of light. Well, apparently, grasshoppers are attracted to that light, and they're coming by the thousands to Las Vegas, not to gamble, by the way, but to hang out near the light. Something about the light attracts them. These grasshoppers, we're told, come as far away as Arizona. How do they know that?
I know, right?
How on earth do they know?
Because the weather channels are picking it up. The weather channels
are they
picking
following these grasshoppers on the
Evidently.
commute? That is freaky. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of bugs. I'll play with a snake before I'll hang out with a spider.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
But grasshoppers, they don't bite.
No.
They're just ugly, and they fly around, and
well,
you step on them a lot.
And they kind of jump and fly at you.
They do, which is kind of creepy, right?
And if you have long hair, they get stuck in your hair. So they're more of a nuisance, like you were saying. But I have a question for you. So that pyramid of light has been there for years and years and years.
It's been there a long time, yeah.
So they're now attracted to this light, but it's because of the rain.
Yeah,
so much of the rain.
It's been a much wetter, I guess, winter than what they've had in the past. So that you're right. That brought a lot of the grasshoppers out. So we go from grasshoppers to cockroaches. On the lunar landing in 1969, there we are on the moon. Our astronauts come back, and we quarantined Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong when they came back, because remember, we hadn't been to the moon. We didn't know what they'd be bringing back with them in the way of radiation or other issues, so they had to quarantine the astronauts. And while they were quarantined, the scientists were taking moon dust and feeding it to cockroaches and mice to see what would happen.
What happened?
Before they could release the astronauts to see if the astronauts were sick or they were bringing something back to Earth. that could harm the rest of us Earthlings.
That is so crazy. That's cool.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And by the way, they did that. They said for 3 flights until they figured out that everything was going to be okay.
Oh, so it's all good.
This is a story that I found kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis, big superstar in basketball. The Lakers get him. He's 26 years old. And he admitted that he is still afraid of the dark.
Oh, so he's the one afraid of the dark.
He said that he has the TV on, the bathroom light on. There has to be some lights on when he goes to bed. And here's a part that I can relate to. He said, I watched too many crazy movies when I was a kid, and it messed me up. As a kid, I watched a lot. I love the horror genre. Mm-hmm. But as a kid, I'd watch them, and I'd be scared out of my mind.
Oh, yeah.
And so if I'm home alone, sleeping at night, if the wife and kids are out of town, even though it's me and Bentley, the golden retriever, I feel like I need to have some lights on. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not so much afraid of the dark, but I could see where movies can definitely, kind of harm you as an adult, because I watched The Exorcist. I watched Friday
The Exorcist. By the way, and we should have this as a question one day, and we'll do that. Is scariest movie you've ever seen? Exorcist by far the scariest movie I think that was ever made.
I think so too.
And then it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
And supposedly, there was rumors that the people involved in the movie were possessed at one point.
I heard about
getting
that.
older. So, but yeah,
and there'd be bad luck and bad things would happen.
That made me afraid of the dark. Definitely.
I mean, my personal scariest movie would actually be Jaws. The shark from 1970s. That's the one that's got me ever since.
That's a good point. So The Exorcist, it forced you to want to put the lights on. You don't want to be in a dark house. But boy, Jaws had such an effect on our hobbies, right? Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Even the bathtub, I get a little scared sometimes too.
Yeah, just any body of water, right? Even if it was a lake.
Poor Patrick, he's got that little rubber ducky, and he's like so worried for its safety.
Yeah.
I am.
You got the inner tube in the tub too, Patrick?
I do.
How far would you go to get season tickets to your favorite team?
I would do a lot of stuff to get season tickets for Rams. That's why when you said you had Rams tickets.
Would you have a tattoo put on your head for a pair of season tickets?
Maybe, because you can shave your head, get the tattoo, and then just grow your hair out.
That would be cheating, though, wouldn't it?
Oh.
So Pittsburgh Steelers player Juju Smith-Schuster, I think he's a USC guy, if I'm not mistaken. He was asked during training camp to sign this guy's this guy shows up, he's got a mohawk. And he says to Juju Smith-Schuster, "Can you sign my helmet?" Mm-hmm. Juju's like, "What helmet?" He's like, "Right here, my
his
helmet.
Cranium.
Sign my head."
Yeah,
right.
his cranium.
So Juju Smith-Schuster signs his head, and the guy takes the signature. He goes to a tattoo parlor, and he has the signature tattooed.
That is so awesome.
And
as a player,
you think that's a good idea?
No,
now
I don't know
You have
about
a couple
the good
tattoos,
idea.
correct?
I have one
I only
tattoo.
know this because I can.
You can see it, or you can. But I mean, that's awesome. For a fan, that's an amazing thing, especially when you're the player.
So he gets the player season tickets.
Oh, okay, yes.
He gets he gives the player gives the guy who tattooed his signature into his head, he gives him season tickets.
That's so awesome.
Isn't that
it's a good
unbelievable?
Thing he did that.
We have to go on to the next segment, don't we, Patrick? We just gab and we gab and we gab.
Having fun, Rick. Having fun.
Right. Coming up, one of the Chargers' big stars may be asking out of Los Angeles. Plus, is too smart a bad thing in the NFL? My radio show with Rick Garcia is brought to you by Western Bagel.
I'm the captain of this vessel. We want to take you on a cruise. All around the land, music is at hand. We want to play it for you. You see, want to be.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVI, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLead's founding school, SCVI combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVI has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLeadSantaClarita.org. iLead Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Western Bagel has been serving signature bagels, sandwiches, and hand-roasted coffee since 1947. They're family-owned and operated with 11 locations across SoCal, including Santa Clarita on Bouquet and the Old Kmart Shopping Center. Western Bagel makes their own whipped cream cheese, offering over 10 flavors along with other goodies, pastries, cookies, and muffins. Delicious Western Bagels. Check out their Bagel Brad Deal of the Week, emailed to you every Monday when you register at westernbagel.com.
Certainly she will be considered for the acting, and that could happen. We'll probably be talking about it either later today or next week.
Trump says John Ratcliffe today withdrew his name from consideration amid reports he falsified his resume and lacked experience. The cost of the Mueller report has been added up, as we hear from the Justice Department correspondent Jessica Schneider.
We have learned in a filing that was just released from the Department of Justice that this special counsel investigation cost nearly $32 million. Now, this accounts for both the direct expenses from Robert Mueller's office as well as the money that he borrowed from other DOJ components. In terms of his own direct expenses for his office, that totaled $16 million.
President Trump has signed a new deal to sell more U.S. beef to Europe.
This is a tremendous victory for American farmers, ranchers, and, of course, European consumers.
The president's been under pressure from farmers and ranchers who've been stung by the trade war with China. Moody's economist Mark Zandi says there could be trouble ahead.
The president actually follows through on these higher tariffs. That is the fodder for recession.
A police trial recommends New York police officer Daniel Pantaleo be fired for his role in the arrest that led to the death of Eric Garner 5 years ago. Garner's daughter, Emerald.
Justice for Eric Garner would be firing Pantaleo. Standing with the family of Eric Garner, who suffered for the past 5 years. Stand with the children and grandchildren of Eric Garner, who have been suffering for the past 5 years.
Pantaleo was suspended today. The New York Police Commissioner will make a final decision on his status. On Wall Street, the Dow down 98, the S&P down 21 points in Friday trades. I'm Mike Moss.
If you have frequent heartburn, take control of it with Prilosec OTC instead of stashing antacids everywhere, like in your junk drawer, buried under old batteries and hotel pens, or in your purse, hiding in the one pocket you won't check. You even have antacids on your nightstand, which are very hard to see in the dark. It's time you stopped stashing antacids and started taking Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days, not for immediate relief.
At Indeed, we understand that when it comes to hiring, it's important to have a large talent pool to choose from. But sometimes too many good options can be overwhelming. That's why Indeed doesn't just give you access to a large pool of job seekers. We also offer screener tools that let you instantly narrow down your search. Hone in on hiring with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
There are times when nothing else will do because you know exactly what you want. You want the Alamo, the taste of true Mexican cooking at its best. At Alamo, you're treated to a taste that is truly Mexican with an atmosphere to match. Enjoy a Cadillac margarita, try a mucho burrito, or sizzling fajitas. Voted the best Mexican food in the SCV and a favorite of former supervisor Mike Antonovich. Alamo Rotisserie in Granary Square, serving Santa Clarita for over 30 years.
Hey guys, this is Cardinellis, host of the new show, Problem Solver Politics, an independent political talk show that keeps you up to date and in the latest political happenings, both nationally and here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Now, this isn't your usual partisan political talk show. At Problem Solver Politics, we have both Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians hash out their differences on air as we strive to find solutions to today's challenges. Join us Sundays at 7 p.m. for Problem Solver Politics.
The Antelope Valley Fair presents REO Speedwagon performing at the Palm Del Auto Mall's concert series on Saturday, August 17th. Here comes REO. Opening for REO, the LA indie rock band Sir Please. Get your tickets today at avfair.com. This year's fair presented by IBEW and NECA.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Gorgeous weekend ahead, sunny skies, highs mostly in the upper 90s, possibly triple digits on Monday. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, go to hometownstation.com or find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KHTS Radio.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
My Radio Show with Rick Garcia is coming to you live from your hometown station in Old Town Newhall, California. Now, My Radio Show with Rick Garcia.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, or as some of my old colleagues used to say, Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, everyone says that now. Yeah, that's awesome.
Welcome to My Radio Show. I'm Rick Garcia. You are listening to us on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM, and you're also watching us on Facebook Live. Hi, how are you guys watching us out there in social media land? You can find us at Facebook Live at KHTS Radio, and so thank you for joining us there. You can also, anytime you want to comment, make any kind of a comment or talk about anything on the show, you can do that through Facebook Live, and you can also do that by calling us if you'd like at 661-298-5487, 661-298-5487. And there are other ways to watch this show. My favorite way is through the KHTS radio app. I'm going to show it to the folks on Facebook. I got to be careful. We're going to get some feedback. But you can listen to this show and this radio station anywhere you want to by just having see, there's a little delay there. Just by getting this app. I think that's the way people listen to stuff nowadays anyway, don't they?
All the time. Isn't it awesome? Yeah, and on Facebook Live, I will be looking at comments. So I'd love to hear from you.
Let us know what you think about what's going on in the world of sports, pop culture, or entertainment. Time for My Headlines.
My Headlines.
My Headlines are brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia. All's quiet on the front. The Dodgers made very little noise as Major League Baseball's trade deadline came and went. The team has been plagued by injuries in some areas of depth, which they attempted to take care of. But there were no major moves, and they were unable to add anyone from outside to strengthen the back end of the bullpen. I don't think that's a problem. They're going to try to fill those roles from inside, and they got plenty of arms to do it, I think. The agent for Chargers star running back Melvin Gordon reportedly asked the team for a trade last week. The Chargers have not expressed an interest in parting ways with their star running back, but they also have not given his agent permission to seek a trade at this time. Rams wide receiver Robert Woods woke up $3 million richer recently. His contract, which is not up for 3 more seasons, but the Rams felt that he has outperformed the deal, and so they generously said, why should we wait? The last of 3 federal lawsuits against NFL refs over blown call in that Rams-Saints conference championship game has been dismissed. However, a state lawsuit in Louisiana will be allowed to continue. And Rams running back Todd Gurley tells reporters, what's with the bad juju? Gurley does not want constant questions about his injured knee to come back to haunt him. And finally, the Clippers' charismatic owner, Steve Ballmer, we love this guy. He's just so colorful. He told the LA Times recently he could see a scenario where the team might change its name someday. The Clippers are going to be moving from Staples Center to a new arena in Inglewood in 2024. Those are my headlines. All right, we talked about Melvin Gordon, the agent for the Chargers star running back, reportedly asked the team to trade him. Now, Gordon has been holding out of training camp in Costa Mesa. He has 1 year left on his rookie contract. He's currently making more than $5 million a year. The Chargers have reportedly offered him $10 million a year. And I should point out, it doesn't help that right across the street, the Rams gave Robert Woods a $3 million raise, saying that he has outperformed his 5-year, $39 million deal, which he signed in 2017. Now, we had Chargers GM Tom Telesco on as a guest last Friday, and word is that Gordon's agent made the trade request last week. We don't know if Telesco knew before or after our interview, but we thought we'd play that interview for you again. Los Angeles Chargers General Manager Tom Telesco joining us on My Radio Show. Okay, let's dig into the personnel. Your star running back, Melvin Gordon, is holding out of camp. He's one of a handful of players who are doing that. He's hoping for a new deal. Where do the Chargers stand with Melvin Gordon today?
Yeah, I mean, no change today than the last couple of days. And, we were just talking about the word balance, trying to balance, a tough practice with players recovering. And we have to balance the same thing with contracts. We try to balance, getting the player the contract that he feels is right, and then on the team side, trying to find a contract that works well for the team with the other 52 players that we'll end up with at the cut to 53, his 52 teammates. We can build the team the way we need to build it, and not only for this year but for future years. So it's a simple question, but it's a hard answer to find sometimes when you have to try and find that balance between those two. So right now we would love Melvin to be here, and he's been such a big part of this football team. And for us, when you see a player that you draft, you see him develop and turn into the player he's been. It's very gratifying, and he can help us win. He's a great kid too. Well, he's not a kid; he's an adult. But he's not here, so we have to go with what we have. And we've got a good group of running backs behind him that are going to have to really step up right now and take on a bigger load. With Melvin not being here.
So Le'Veon Bell sat out an entire season last year, as you know, did not play for the Steelers, then winds up signing with the Jets. The Rams gave Todd Gurley a big fat contract last season, but by the end of the year there was talk about the possibility of him having an arthritic knee. You talked about balance. Now, running backs, they're a special group of players. They're so important to teams, but they also have a lifespan of about 2.5 years. Is that the toughest position to try to figure out that balance that you're talking about?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, you really hit it perfectly right there. I mean, they're important to your offense, and I think sometimes they get people talk about you can plug anybody back there at running back. I don't necessarily believe that. I mean, they touch the ball a lot in the run game. They touch the ball a lot in the passing game, and by the way, the running backs are used a lot more in the passing game now than they were 20, 30 years ago, and they have to be able to pass protect and know all the protections up front. So there's a lot on their plate. But with that, if you're going to handle the ball a lot and have a lot of pass protection, the injury rate for running backs is higher than some other positions. That's just the nature of it. But, when you have a back that you feel like can really, really do all three phases well and help you win, like we think Melvin can, that's someone you'd like to invest in. But, it's a tough position. Those are tough discussions and tough talks. And, every team's philosophy may be a little bit different. But, like I said, you kind of hit it right on the head when you talked about that.
So for me, I describe the economics sort of like a Rubik's Cube. You have to take some of the blues, move them over to the whites so that you can move them back over to the blues. If you were teaching a class on salary cap, how would you describe the strategy of giving some players big deals when the time is right while making others wait or even having to make those hard cuts?
Well, you have a lot of discussions, and each situation is a little bit unique. With the salary cap in our league, it's a hard cap. You cannot go over it. There's different ways you can do to move money around to give you flexibility, but in the end, it's like a credit card. Eventually, you're going to have to pay it all at some point, and what you don't want to do is push too much money into the future. Even though the cap rises each year, you don't want to push too much money in the future and really hamstring yourself. So when you do the deals for different players, you really have to look beyond just the first year. You can manipulate the number a little bit to get the number lower the first year, but eventually you got to pay the piper. So you have to look at the future years, look at what other players are going to be up with contracts and how everything works in, and you have to decide what type of the player that is. And if it's our philosophy here has been to draft and try and draft real well, and then develop those players and re-sign our own. And that's our philosophy. That's what we like to do: reward our own players. Now, it doesn't mean every single player that makes it for you as a draft pick, you're going to be able to re-sign. That's, in a salary cap world, that's just not possible. But high percentage you'd like to keep. But you always have to be planning for the future and make some tough. There's going to be some tough decisions at some point with some players that you'd like to keep. Actually, one for us last year was Tyrell Williams, our wide receiver. Would have loved to have kept him on the free agent market. He earned a very big contract, and on our team right now, we had Keenan Allen, we had paid a pretty big contract a couple years before, and drafted Mike Williams in the first round. So it was hard to invest in a third receiver at that price. So that's an example of a player that we just couldn't keep, but would have loved to have done it, but just can't do it in the salary cap era.
LA Chargers GM Tom Telesco on my radio show with Rick Garcia. One day your quarterback, Phillip Rivers, is going to be wearing a gold jacket. He isn't getting any younger. How small is the Chargers' window to win a Super Bowl with Rivers as quarterback? How do you address that position in the future?
I don't know about windows. I'm worried about this year, so we got to try and get it done this year. But as far as the future after Phillip, it's something that we're always thinking about, and I've been thinking about for a long time. I know in the draft, there just hasn't been a player there at the right spot, the right time. We felt could be the next guy for us. So we're always on the lookout for. We know Phillip isn't going to play forever. He's in great shape right now, and he's playing well, but you do have to have a plan for the future. And that was one of the reasons why we had signed Tyrod Taylor in the offseason, who's he's a veteran quarterback, not as old as Phillip is, but he has some starting experience, has won a lot of games, and, to have some more depth behind Phillip. But, yeah, at some point, you're right, he's going to be in Canton, and he won't be playing for the Chargers. But, yeah, it's something always on I shouldn't say even back of my mind. It's always on the front of my mind. I mean, quarterback's the most important position on your football team. So we do a lot of work with it, and but right now we're really happy with what we have, and hopefully that can stay like that for a while.
You've had a couple of seasons under your belt playing in Los Angeles in less than ideal conditions, yet you're sharing a soccer stadium with the LA Galaxy. How is your relationship with your neighbors and eventual roommates in the new stadium, the Rams?
It's been good on our part. We practiced with the Rams 2 years ago. We're going to practice with them again this year. I know Les Dean very well, and Sean McVay. I saw they both got extensions today, so that's great for them.
Did you call your agent when you heard that?
No, I'm very, very happy and lucky where I am right now. But it's they've done a tremendous job there for where the team was before they arrived to where it is now. They've done a tremendous job. Two really good people. I've learned a lot from both of them as far as some things that they do, and it's nice to have a team like that in the same market and a team that we can work with. I mean, having a combined practice during the preseason is great for us to get some really good work done at not quite game level type tempo, but certainly better than a regular practice. So to work with those guys, work with the Saints, it gives us some great practice work. And the fact that the Rams are right over in Irvine and we're in Costa Mesa, it couldn't be better as far as travel is concerned. So it's great having them here.
Do you see a scenario where the Los Angeles Chargers meet the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl?
I'll take that any day of the week.
You don't care who you play. You don't care who you play.
No, I would not. Well, how fun would that be?
And by the way, you got to get past the Chiefs, and the big question is, will the Raiders be a factor? What do you think about those two teams?
Well, we know what the Chiefs are. I mean, the Chiefs won the division last year. They're the team to beat right now. Very talented. Andy Reid's a great coach, but we got Denver and Oakland coming too. Denver's a new quarterback with Joe Flacco. Oakland will be in the second year with John Gruden. I have a ton of respect for John Gruden and his whole staff. So it's a tough division. It has been my whole 6 years I've been here. It's been a very difficult division, and so we got our work cut out for us with those teams. But hey, that's just the way it is. The AFC is a tough conference, and it's a tough division. But we have to find a way to win the division. That's the best way into the playoffs, and hopefully try and get a bye.
That's Los Angeles Chargers General Manager Tom Telesco. We did that interview last Friday. We thought we should bring that to you again because of the news that Melvin Gordon's agent reportedly had asked for a trade. So, again, that's how negotiations take place, and he could wind up being a Charger for many, many, many years to come. He could also get traded. You never know. It's a crazy business. Coming up, we know he's had an incredible golf career, but what one of Tiger's ex-teammates says he wasn't very good at. And scientists may have found another planet that could sustain life. But before you pack your bags, you may want to hear from our expert. My radio show with Rick Garcia is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Valencia.
So sick of living inside myself. All of my life, all of my doubts, all of my hopes keep keeping me down. I'm starting all over, starting all over, starting all over.
Hey, all you savvy style seekers, extraordinary deals on designer brands await you at the outlets at Tejon. Find the latest fashion and accessories at Michael Kors, H&M, Levi's Outlet Store, Coach, and Calvin Klein. Shop for the whole family at Gap Outlet, American Eagle Outfitters, Oshkosh B'gosh, and Nike Factory Store. Even style your home with Pottery Barn Outlet and Le Creuset. All at amazing everyday value you won't find anywhere else. Join our VIP club today to receive your free coupon brochure filled with hundreds of dollars in additional savings. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or visit TejonOutlets.com for the latest sales and events. Your must-shop stop is located just 40 minutes north on I-5.
Our Back to School Styles Free event is Saturday. Register on site by 10 o'clock for the chance to shop your best back to school look from your favorite brands and compete to win the grand prize. Details at TejonOutlets.com. No purchase necessary. Subject to official rules. Ends August 3rd.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
Hometown.
All day long, constantly.
Your hometown station. 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Hometown.
Santa Clarita News.
Your community connection.
Car fire, unhealthy air, and local actress hits the big screen. Hey, this is Michael Brown with the KHTS News Team. Here's what's going on in Santa Clarita. 3 cars were engulfed in flames in Canyon Country yesterday, temporarily shutting down Soledad Canyon Road. The fire briefly spread to the nearby brush, but firefighters were able to knock it down within minutes. However, the incident created so much smoke that residents report seeing it from as far as Valencia. An air quality advisory has been issued for Santa Clarita. People living or working in our valley with heart disease, asthma, or other respiratory diseases are encouraged to minimize outdoor activities, as well as children with sensitive conditions. Despite air quality improving in the region over the past few decades, the South Coast and Salton Sea air basins continue to have days where pollutants can reach unhealthy levels such as today. The advisory is set to last until the rest of this evening. In more fun news, an actress from Valencia scored an on-screen part in the newest film from Quentin Tarantino. Tony Pilecki can be seen sitting at a table next to Al Pacino and Leonardo DiCaprio in the new film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Pilecki said the experience was absolutely unreal and that she'll never forget how full of life Tarantino had on set. The film is currently playing in theaters. For more on these stories and everything happening in the Santa Clarita Valley, make sure you head on over to hometownstation.com.
I have to see that movie. Have you
Yeah,
seen that
me
movie
too.
yet?
I'm seeing it tonight.
No, are you really?
I'm trying
I'm hoping to go
yeah.
this weekend.
Oh, let us know how it is.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Let me know, yeah. By the way, be prepared, 2 hours, 41 minutes.
Oh, I'm so glad you gave me that heads up. I'm going to have to hit that cinema that has food in a bar. All right, let's take a look at our local weather. Currently, right now in Santa Clarita, it is 96 degrees. This weekend, we are going to pump it up to 100 degrees for Saturday and Sunday and Monday, and then it's going to cool down Tuesday back into the 90s. We're still in summertime. And that is our local weather for the hometown station.
That's awesome. Well, I don't like hearing about smog alerts, though. That's something that was that happened when I was a kid, and I thought we'd cleared up the air. It sounds like we're going back. Well,
I remember that, where we would be in a pool for a half an hour, get out, and you would breathe in. Do you remember that, Rick? You would breathe in, and it would hurt your
couldn't
throat.
go out on the playground as a kid, and now it looks like we're going backwards a little bit on that.
Oh, no. That's not good.
So, April, we have some folks on Facebook that we want to say hi to.
Yes, we do. And we are live on Facebook at KHTS Radio, and we'd love to hear the comments. I'm currently looking in right now. And let's see. I want to say hi to Kara. She's out in the Inland Empire. Hello, Kara.
Hey,
She's
Kara.
watching in. We have, let me just jump back on really quick. We have Maureen from Santa Clarita. Thank you, Maureen.
Hello, Maureen. Thanks for
tuning
tuning in. Yeah, we appreciate that.
And we have. I'm not sure if we're allowed to mention the winner of the contest. I'll wait on.
I don't know. Can we? I don't know how that works.
I think
we do have a winner, though.
We have
a
winner
on the $25 gift card to Hanu Coffee. So
yes, and so
we will reach out and let you know who you are.
And then, I'm sorry. And then we have Anna from Rancho Cucamonga.
Hey,
She's
Anna.
also tuning
How are
in.
you? Good to see you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us on Facebook Live. And also, you can, if you're listening in your car, you can call us at 661-298-5487 and talk sports, entertainment, or anything you'd like, pop culture. We stay away from the serious issues, though. I'm sure you can guess what those are. Time for Rick's Replay.
Rick's Replay.
Well, the Dodgers hosted the Padres last night. They were trailing 2-1 in the sixth inning when rookie catcher Will Smith continued to impress. He hit a grand slam to put the Dodgers on top 5-2 at that time. Cody Bellinger added his 35th homer. Clayton Kershaw gets his 10th win of the season. Dodgers beat the Padres by a score of 8-2. Well, sometimes the best trade is the one you didn't make, and that may be the case with the Dodgers, who were relatively quiet at the trading deadline. They added Jed Jerko, an infielder from St. Louis. You may remember him as a Padre, too, at one point. They added him as insurance for their ailing depth players, Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, and David Freese. But I should say Jerko is currently on the injured list as well. The Dodgers reportedly went after a late inning reliever, but the price was too steep, and the Dodgers hung on to their top prospects, shortstop Gavin Lux and pitcher Dustin May, who's going to be starting tonight against the San Diego Padres in a game that you can hear right here on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM at 710. He is said to be a very colorful young pitcher. I think he's 21 years old. They say he throws incredibly hard. I say colorful. You remember the comedian Carrot Top? You familiar with that guy? Mm-hmm. Apparently, this guy has just long, bushy red hair that that covers most of everything above his shoulders, and so he's going to be.
That's a signature look.
It is a signature,
and people are going to remember him for that.
But sitting next to Justin Turner with a big long beard, that's going to be a sight. That's a lot of red in that dugout.
It's like father and son.
It could be. In the last hour, we spoke to Dodgers manager Dave Roberts, and one of the questions I asked him, with the team up with a 72 wins on the season, best record in baseball. I think there's 16 games out in front of the next closest team in their division. And I asked Dave, how are you going to keep this team from getting complacent? And cue the interview. How do you keep those guys from getting complacent?
You know what, Rick? We just don't deal with complacency. Our guys are always trying to get better each day. And this is something that we've been accustomed to, as far as winning baseball games, staying focused on just each day. And I will say this, Rick, when you get young players, you mentioned Matt Beatty, you mentioned Will Smith, obviously Walker Buehler's a young player, but you get guys that are young and hungry. It definitely makes guys that have been around that much better, and also the veteran players like Justin Turner and all those guys helping the young players out. So this culture right now is pretty special, and complacency is something that's definitely not a part of what we do here.
And for those of you fans, and we all do this, you want a big splash, and when it comes to free agency or at trading deadlines, the Dodgers, I think, did the right thing by not, mortgaging the future to get a player for a season or two that might or might not help you in the World Series. So I'm glad they hung on to their young players. And here's how they're going to help their bullpen, because this is where they needed the help, is they're going to take one or two of their starting pitchers, Julio Urias or possibly Kenta Maeda. Maybe it's going to be Dustin May, and they're going to throw those guys in the bullpen, and that's really going to shore up the back end of that bullpen. So not to worry, I think, is where the Dodgers and that trade deadline is concerned. All right, it's news to me.
News to me.
There is a test in football. It's called the Wonderlic, and it's you have all kinds of physical tests in the NFL. Okay. How fast do you run? Can you cut through the cones? How high can you jump? How much weight can you lift? But then they want to know how you are, above the shoulders. How smart are you? And there's a test called the Wonderlic. Some guys don't do very well on the Wonderlic test, and teams might shy away. Well, apparently there's a concern on the part of some agents that their clients may do too well on the Wonderlic, and that if they're too smart when it comes to the Wonderlic test, the concern is they could become a problem on a team because maybe they second guess the coaches, maybe they stir the pot a little bit and
too much,
and get the players to possibly start a revolt against players. So one of the stories is that this Patriots player by the name of Joe Thuney, that when he was coming out of college, his agent said, whatever you do, don't get all the questions right. So he told this guy pre-draft, just answer 30 out of 50 Wonderlic questions because you don't want to score too high and scare teams off. So he
Isn't that cheating?
He answered 39 out of 50. He got all 39 right.
Wow. But that's considered cheating, I would think. I mean, it's... I think that's cheating, right?
Failed. He didn't fail the test. He did well, but he didn't do it. We have who do we have on my radio show with Rick Garcia? Oh, we're not ready for that yet. So let's wait for that. Sorry, I'm glad.
Hold on, just one
Hang
second,
on, we got
please.
time. We have time to do that. All right. There's this great story. The Women's British Open golf tournament is taking place this weekend. The women's tour was in France for a tournament the weekend before, and after the tournament was over, they load up all the golf clubs and they put them in a truck and they drive the truck to the next tournament, which in this case was England. One of the golfers, Lexi Thompson, gets to the airport. She realizes she doesn't have her passport. So she's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Don't they have people for that to help them
so
out?
in this case, it was her caddy. So she said to her caddy, hey, we got to find the truck that has all the golf clubs, which is traveling to try to get to this tournament outside of London. She sends her caddy to find this driver. They find the driver. He's on the road. They stop the truck, and the caddy shows up, and they go through all these golf clubs. There are like 40 sets of golf clubs in there. They find Lexi's golf club. They get the passport out. The caddy races to the airport, gets the passport to Lexi. In the meantime, the truck, loads up all the golf clubs and drives to a port where it's going to catch a ferry.
Okay.
The truck is too late.
They missed the ferry. That was going to be my question.
Okay. So none of these golf clubs gets to London in time for a practice round. So 40 women golfers were not able to practice.
Oh, no. Could that be a lawsuit?
Because, I don't know if it's a lawsuit, but let's just say that Lexi said, I don't know if everybody's mad at me, and I don't blame them if they are, but it does feel like people are not happy with me.
Because that's their job, so they want to practice, right?
I know, and so imagine if somebody else held up your practice round because they weren't paying attention. We all know what a great golfer Tiger Woods is.
Of course, yes.
What I didn't know is that when it comes to other sports, he's he's a 15-time major champion on the golf course. But when he was at Stanford, the Stanford golf team also had an intramural basketball team.
Okay.
And so they would all get together and they'd play hoops against other intramural teams on the campus. And apparently one of Tiger's teammates said that while he was a great golfer, he was not exactly the best basketball player. He said, listen, he's a good athlete. I'm not saying he wasn't a good athlete, but he said this. He said that we had a guy named Casey Martin on the golf team as well, who had a birth defect in his right leg, and he started ahead of Tiger on the basketball team.
Oh, no, he went there.
He did go there. Nota Begay, the golfer who's now an analyst, was pointing out Tiger's lack of basketball skills. Just not right, is it? Yeah. Did you hear about this? There's a new planet that might be able to sustain life.
This is so cool.
Yeah. Astronomers say that there's the potential for life on another planet. And let me tell the story here in a minute. that scientists say that after examining the data, they noticed that 2 planets are circling a star. And it's possible that there could be some liquid water there in the atmosphere that might... the key is, I guess, water for life, but it's 31 light years away, and they discover it with the super telescope. And
that is so awesome.
There it is. That's the My Radio Show hotline, and we thought we'd get an expert's opinion on whether you should reserve a moving van or not. And our guest has a biology and chemistry degree from the University of California at Los Angeles. In other words, he's a scientist, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, Scientist Steve is on My Radio Show.
All right.
Hi, Scientist Steve. How are you?
Hey, Rick. Doing great.
So, Scientist Steve, tell us about this fancy planet hunting telescope, and what do they call it?
Sure. So in April of 2018, NASA launched the Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite on a Falcon 9 rocket, one of Elon's rockets. It's called TESS for short. Now, it's currently orbiting the Earth, just like the Hubble telescope, with a specific mission to examine stars for the presence of habitable exoplanets. So in its first 15 months of operation, TESS has identified 850 exoplanets. And out of those, astronomers have identified a potentially habitable exoplanet orbiting a star in the Hydra constellation, which is some, as you said, 31 light years from Earth.
So what's the key, Scientist Steve, to being a habitable planet?
You know, that's a good question. And astronomers look for worlds that can support liquid water. In other words, the planet can't be too hot or too cold, and it also needs a thick enough atmosphere to support the presence of liquid water. And those are the conditions necessary to support life as we know it on Earth.
If it's habitable, does that mean that there is life on it?
That's another great question. And just because a planet is habitable, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to find life. TESS is narrowing the field, so to speak, to allow more research to be focused on these potentially habitable worlds.
Scientist Steve, tell me, what does TESS stand for again?
Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite.
I just wanted to hear you say that because
that's fancy.
I have no idea what that means, but I'm going to trust you. We'll stick with TESS. Now, the story, by the way, which was in Business Insider, Scientist Steve says the planet is only. It says only. It did refer to it as only 31 light years away. Should I make my travel reservations, or is it too late for someone my age?
Maybe a little bit too late. It's cosmically close. Technology-wise, it's pretty far. Remember, Rick, light travels at 186,000 miles per second. So in 1 year, traveling at the speed of light, you would cover 5.88 trillion miles. The planet we're talking about is 31 times further than that, and yet it's the closest potentially habitable world that we know of at the moment. Now, the fastest spacecraft that we've built so far is NASA's Parker Solar Probe, and that was launched last year. It's going to reach a speed of 430,000 miles an hour as it does a close flyby of our sun. So we need to have some big advances in propulsion technology if we're going to send a probe out that far. And once there, though, go ahead, Rick.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, Scientist Steve.
Sure. Once there, the data returning, and remember it's electromagnetic data returning, traveling at the speed of light, it would take 31 years to reach Earth. And so it looks like the great-grandchildren of the scientists who would send a probe there would be the ones analyzing the data to return. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
That was very fascinating. Scientist Steve, April would like to ask you a question. Is that okay? Go ahead,
Absolutely.
April. Go ahead,
Hey, April, how are you?
Okay, so in some of the alien movies, it shows them falling asleep and they travel in long distances. How close are we to that, or has that even been touched on in reality?
Yeah, for hibernation, we saw it in 2001. We're a ways away from that. We're a long ways away from that, actually. In fact, we still need to get back to the moon, and that's the next thing that we're trying to do within the next 10 to 15 years.
Well, so Scientist Steve, I mean, Elon Musk and I think it's Richard Branson, these guys are firing off rockets, and they want to populate Mars. And I'll be honest with you, Scientist Steve, I can think of a lot of people who I'd like to get a one-way ticket to Mars, if I could. Really, that's the closest planet we've got to, other than some place like the moon, that it might be an opportunity to build some condos, right?
Well, yeah, it would take a lot of infrastructure in order to make Mars habitable for us. And if you watch the movie The Martian, they obviously had multiple missions to Mars before we picked up with Matt Damon, and there was a lot of infrastructure in place. So if we're going to do that, we've got to invest some more money and push the technology a little bit.
And I just want to say, ladies, if you're thinking of going to Mars, Matt Damon doesn't really live on Mars. Let me just make that clear right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Scientist Steve on my radio show. Thanks so much, Scientist Steve. We appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
All right. April, let's give away some free stuff again. What do you say?
My favorite time. Yes.
Oh, the free stuff part? Yeah.
Yes.
The first person to call 661-298-5487 or messages us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio with the right answer to my question will win a dozen bagels from Western Bagel.
Yummy. I love bagels.
Onion bagels for me.
Garlic for myself.
Garlic, okay.
Yeah, so beware.
Dozen bagels from Western Bagel. In my interview just now with Scientist Steve, scientists discovered a potentially habitable planet using a powerful planet-hunting telescope. What is the telescope's nickname? What is the telescope's nickname? Call us at 661-298-5487, or you can message us on Facebook Live at KHTS Radio with the right answer.
Good luck.
Yeah, coming up, looking for something to do this weekend? Well, we have a few ideas for you. Plus, the fall sports seasons are getting closer and closer. That's something we may want to touch on as well. My radio show with Rick Garcia, brought to you by Western Bagel.
All my life been hustling, and tonight is my appraisal. Cause I'm a hooker selling songs, and my pick's a record label. This world is full of demons.
Accidents happen, but rest assured Patterson's Collision Center is here to help. Patterson's is a family-owned and operated collision repair facility providing the Santa Clarita Valley with premium collision repairs. Patterson's prides itself on being the only California-certified green repair shop in all of Santa Clarita. They are insurance claim specialists and even offer payment plans for your deductible. For personalized, friendly service, visit pattersonscollisioncenter.com. or call 294-1011 and let Patterson's Collision Center help ease your worries today.
KHTS strives to give the Santa Clarita Valley all the information they need. And when our computers aren't working the way they should, we call Resurgence, your true source for IT. Resurgence provides outstanding customer service while also providing the highest technical ability. They strive to do what is best to improve and protect your business. For more information on Resurgence, call 349-4114. or go to resurgenceit.com.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
Western Bagel has been serving signature bagels, sandwiches, and hand-roasted coffee since 1947. They're family-owned and operated with 11 locations across SoCal, including Santa Clarita on Bouquet and the Old Kmart Shopping Center. Western Bagel makes their own whipped cream cheese, offering over 10 flavors along with other goodies, pastries, cookies, and muffins. Delicious Western Bagels. Check out their Bagel Bread Deal of the Week, emailed to you every Monday when you register at westernbagel.com.
Your hometown station.
I love my Dodgers on KHTS.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
All right now it is time for Who Am I? Celebrity birthdays.
Who am I?
Yeah, I'd like to see how sharp Rick Garcia is. He did
Well,
pretty well.
don't
2
get
out
your
of 3.
hopes up.
2 out of 3 in the first hour. Let's see how you do this hour. Okay, the first one. He's a catcher who debuted with the San Diego Padres in 2003. He was signed by the Chicago White Sox in 1997, and his first career hit came as a pinch hitter in 2003. I hope those are good clues.
Let's see, catcher with the Padres. The
he's
music.
Venezuelan. He's Venezuelan. As well.
Venezuelan. Catcher from, let's see, the Padres and the Cubs.
Catcher who debuted with the San Diego Padres.
Let's see, debuted with the Padres. And what's the year again? Wasn't Benito Santiago, was it?
No.
No.
His last name starts with a Q.
Thank you. Oh, I think you're going to have to give me that one. Is the birthday music gone? Did we run out of birthday music? No.
Let's hear that. Let's hear that music.
There we go. You can keep that real
All
low
right.
underneath.
Thank
Let's
you,
hear that.
Patrick.
Sorry.
Humberto Quintero.
Quintero. Okay.
Quintero.
I did not. Okay, you got me on that one. That was okay.
Now, I know you're Latino. You're not Venezuelan, are you?
I'm not Venezuelan. No, we're Mexicano.
Oh, that's right.
Our
That's
family.
right. Okay. Number 2.
Yeah.
Now, are we allowed to do people who have already passed? Famous people.
Well, you know what? We will right now.
Because I have 2.
We will right now.
So,
now, are these
okay.
just athletes, or did you get other folks?
This is an actor.
Okay, I love that. Okay.
Okay,
good.
here we go.
And you already gave away part of it though by saying he's not with us. So.
Oh
okay.
yes. Okay,
right,
so
that's
that was clue number 2 because he's an actor.
Okay.
He died in 2013 at age 81. Knighted actor, best known as a star of the 1962 film Lawrence of Arabia.
Yes. Let's see.
He also appeared.
Not Peter O'Toole.
Yes.
So, by the way, is it me or did the Brits knight everybody? Do they give everybody a knighthood? Or everybody's either a sir or a dame?
That's true.
How easy is it to get?
I want to be.
What
a
do
knight.
we do here? We do nothing here.
We do nothing. You know nothing.
You get a prison record. That's what you get.
Yeah. I would want to be a knight, though,
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you got another one there?
Yes, another one who's passed. Died in 2010 at age 74. He's a country songwriter. For Patsy Cline and others who also had
songwriter.
Oh, country songwriter for Patsy Cline and others who also had popular solo works. So he also sang. Before fame, he moved to Nashville to start writing songs in 1960 and right away scored a major hit with I Fall to Pieces, which Patsy Cline took to a Billboard. Country #1.
Okay.
He had a Billboard Country Top 40s hit with Sally Was a Good Old Girl. And
that sounds familiar.
country staple, A Little Bitty Tear as a solo performer.
I don't think I'm going to get this one.
Hank Cochran.
Hank Cochran. I wouldn't have known Hank. I didn't know that one.
That's my third. Who am I? And I think I picked some hard ones for you.
You did pick some hard ones
the
today.
first one, you got 2 out of 3. I'll be a little easier on you the next time.
Not as recognizable. Listen, I'm going to let you go on Facebook and see if we got some people to say hello to. And in the meantime, it's time for My Headlines.
My Headlines.
And My Headlines are brought to you by Western Bagel. The Dodgers made very little noise as Major League Baseball's trading deadline came and went. The team has been plagued by injuries in some areas of depth, which was a strong point for this team. They did take care of that with some small under-the-radar moves, but no major moves. They were unable to add anyone from outside to strengthen the back end of their bullpen, opting rather to handle things in-house. I think that's going to be a good move on their part. The agent for Chargers star running back Melvin Gordon reportedly asked the team for a trade last week. The Chargers have not expressed an interest in parting ways with Gordon, and they have not given his agent permission to seek a trading partner at this time. Rams wide receiver Robert Woods woke up and was $3 million richer recently. His contract is not up for another 3 more seasons, including this year, but the Rams felt that the Woods has outperformed his deal, and so they generously said, why wait? The last of 3 federal lawsuits against NFL referees over the blown call in the Rams-Saints conference championship game has been dismissed. However, a state lawsuit in Louisiana will be allowed to go on. Rams running back Todd Gurley tells reporters, what's with the bad juju? Gurley does not want constant questions about his injured knee to come back to haunt him. And the Clippers' charismatic owner Steve Ballmer told the LA Times recently he could see a scenario where the team might change its name someday. The Clippers will move from Staples Center to a new arena in Inglewood. That's going to be in 2024. Time now for some entertainment.
In a Hollywood Minute.
Boy, some people have great friends. Captain America got an incredible new gift from Iron Man. So Robert Downey Jr., who's Iron Man, Chris Evans, who's Captain America, apparently have developed a pretty good friendship from all their Avengers movies. So much so that Robert Downey Jr. gave Chris Evans a Captain America-themed Camaro worth an estimated $275,000.
Wow. That's awesome. I want to see the car. I have to see the car.
Isn't that something? I mean,
yes.
And you know the guy who used to give out big gifts like that back in the day?
Who was it?
Elvis Presley.
Oh,
Elvis
really?
Presley was known for giving people Cadillacs.
Oh my goodness, that would be awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No, he was notorious for giving his buddies Cadillacs. I mean that is something. Can you believe that?
I want to see that car. I wonder if he's going to drive that car around town.
You know what?
Check it out.
He should roll that out on weekends or drive it to the movie sets. But that's a neat gift.
It
I don't
is.
think any of those guys are going to be working together on any of the Avengers. Does anybody know that? I think.
Never say never. You never.
Well, okay,
you
never
know,
say never, especially in a fantasy world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think Downey died in the last movie.
Iron Man
died in the last movie. I think Chris Evans says he's going to move on to other projects.
Oh, so it was sad.
I don't know about Thor. It sounds like it's going to be a different iteration.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's going to be a different Thor, I think. There's going to be a different... So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Well, all you have to do is show him the money, you know?
Did you have you seen any movies? Did you see any movies over the weekend or while you were on vacation? Because you were gone for a little while.
I have not. I wanted to see The Lion King, but no,
okay.
I have not seen any movies. I need to catch up on those.
I only had a chance to see one over the weekend. I wanted to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
And I'm going to try to do that this weekend. But you have to plan for that. That's 2 hours and 41 minutes out of your life. It's a long, long flick.
That's 2 glasses of wine, and then
2 glasses of wine, you'll be asleep by. And they don't do intermission anymore, April. Just so you know, when I was a kid, they actually stopped the movie midway through to do intermission. All right, so time for Rick's review. We did a I had a chance to get one movie in. It was on demand. I try to get at least one movie in. So my on-demand scale is a little different than the brand new movies. I saw a movie called Skin. It's rated R. It's an hour and 50 minutes long, and it stars Jamie Bell, Danielle McDonald, Bill Camp, and Vera Farmiga. And this story is it's based on the true story of a white supremacist who tries to reform his life after falling in love, but saying goodbye to his skinhead life is quite difficult. Now, Jamie Bell, you might remember him from Billy Elliot. He was the little kid in Billy Elliot.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And then more recently, he played Bernie Taupin, Elton John's writing partner, in Rocket Man.
Oh, okay.
So he's the lead character in the movie Skin. It's a really heavy depiction of what it's like trying to break away from the only family in life you know, no matter how despicable it is. Bill Camp is terrific as the leader of a gang of white supremacists, and he's also Bell's character's father figure. Here's the thing. It took me, I'd say I got about a third of the way into the film before I realized that Vera Farmiga was even in it, and she was fantastic. She played Bell's character's mother figure in this film. It's a difficult and sometimes depressing movie to watch at times, but it has a feeling of importance. I mean, especially with what's going on right now.
Oh,
There's
absolutely.
sort of this resurgence of that, and so this is a guy that tried to flip things around. And the subject matter, again, it can be tough at times, but there's an importance to it. I gave Skin 2.5 out of 5 Gs. Now that's my on-demand scale, which is a little different. Now remember, if I'm going to wait to see something on demand, not in all cases, but I have a little, your standards are a little bit lower, right? When you're watching
That's
it,
a touchy subject too. Just what the movie's about.
Yeah, absolutely. In theaters now, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Now this one's rated PG-13. It stars Dwayne Johnson, Jason Statham, Idris Elba, and Helen Mirren. Now the fact that it has the Fast and Furious in the title will give you an idea of what this is about. Rivals Hobbs, played by Dwayne Johnson, a loyal agent of America's diplomatic security service, and lawless outcast Shaw, who is played by Jason Statham, who's a former British military elite operative, now have to work together to defeat a cyber-genetically enhanced anarchist who's played by Idris Elba, who I love as well. And he somehow gains control of an insidious bio-threat that could alter humanity forever. I mean, have you seen it? I have not seen one Fast and Furious.
I saw the first one, and it was really good. It's fun.
You liked
and
it,
kids
yeah?
love it. Yeah, my son loves all those movies.
And
so,
your son's not old enough to drive yet, is he?
No, even though hurry up and learn how to drive so you could take me places.
But you don't want him doing that drafting or whatever they call that stuff in the Fast.
All
and
that
Furious.
crazy stuff.
That's what they like to do in that. Yeah.
It was actually a drifting, Rick.
Drifting.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. Okay.
Drafting is when you get right behind somebody.
Oh, okay.
And the aerodynamic forces help kind of pull you along so you can conserve.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you do that, Patrick, while you're driving on the 210?
Personally, no. But let's just say, just make me sound a little bit cooler. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And drifting is basically where you, as you make those turns, you kind of slide. The back end of the car will slide. Is that part of the drifting process?
Yeah, that is. You basically you go a little fast, and then you kind of you turn, and as you're turning, you use the brake, but it's not like a hard brake. It's more like you're kind of just skidding. But in a smooth transition, I guess, if that makes sense.
What kind of car do you drive, Patrick?
I have a Camaro. No, I'm just kidding. I have a 2010 Ford Fusion. So
you don't,
not
do
a
you
lot
do this
of
on the
drifting.
Fusion? You don't drift in that?
No, the wheels aren't cut out for that.
All right, here are more ideas for your weekend.
Santa Clarita Nights.
Hometown.
Things to do this weekend in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Your community station.
It's Aaron, and this week in our valley, Family Drum Circle presented by Family Promise of SEV. Tickets on sale now for 8th Annual Comics for a Cause. Tickets on sale for Carousel Ranch 23rd Annual Heart of the West. Concerts in the Park, Mirage Fleetwood Mac Tribute, and Little Shop of Horrors presented by Escape Theater. Did you know there's even more things to do in Santa Clarita when you head to hometownstation.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter?
Your hometown station.
Is it back to us? Here we are again. Anybody to say hi to on Facebook? Or
No, but
Okay.
you know what? I do want to remind everyone, please jump on our Facebook page at KHTS Radio, comment, a question, anything. We love to interact with the audience, so please do so.
We've had some neat stories on the show today. Do we have the Dave Roberts bite available? Dave Roberts, manager of the Dodgers, was on with us in the 1 o'clock hour. They've had such incredible success. A lot of it should be attributed to him. He's an amazing guy in the clubhouse, in the dugout, just a calming force, but he also has a great deal of energy. I had to ask him today because this team is 16 games in first place, the best record in baseball, and how are you got to be careful not to rest on your laurels. Here's what he told me. How do you keep those guys from getting complacent?
You know what, Rick? We just don't deal with complacency. Our guys are always trying to get better each day. And this is something that we've been accustomed to, as far as winning baseball games, staying focused on just each day. And I will say this, Rick, when you get young players, you mentioned Matt Beatty, you mentioned Will Smith, obviously Walker Buehler's a young player, but you get guys that are young and hungry. It definitely makes guys that have been around that much better, and also the veteran players like Justin Turner and all those guys helping the young players out. So this culture right now is pretty special, and complacency is something that's definitely not a part of what we do here.
It was great having Dave Roberts on. And we also touched on the Melvin Gordon trade. Do we have the Tom Telesco? Is that going to be harder to find for you? Basically, the gist of what Telesco told us, he told us last Friday. Let's listen to him. Los Angeles Chargers General Manager Tom Telesco joining us on my radio show. Okay, let's dig into the personnel. Your star running back Melvin Gordon is holding out of camp. He's one of a handful of players who are doing that. He's hoping for a new deal. Where do the Chargers stand with Melvin Gordon today?
Yeah, I mean, no change today than the last couple of days, and we were just talking about the word balance, trying to balance a tough practice with players recovering, and we have to balance the same thing with contracts. We try to balance getting the player the contract that he feels is right, and then on the team side, trying to find a contract that works well for the team with the other 52 players that we'll end up with at the cut to 53, 52 teammates. We can build the team the way we need to build it, and not only for this year but for future years. So it's a simple question, but it's a hard answer to find out sometimes when you have to try and find that balance between those two. So right now we would love Melvin to be here, and he's been such a big part of this football team. And for us, when you see a player that you draft, you see him develop and turn into the player he's been. It's very gratifying, and he can help us win. He's a great kid too. Well, he's not a kid; he's an adult. But he's not here, so we have to go with what we have. And we've got a good group of running backs behind him that are going to have to really step up right now and take on a bigger load. With Melvin not being here.
Oh, we wish the Chargers luck, man. That's a tough decision. The business decision is always the hardest decisions to make. It's easy to put in a player who's playing well in the starting position, but on top of that, you got to deal with the contracts and all the other stuff that goes on.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out. But our thanks to Dave Roberts, who was part of the show today. That Tom Telesco interview was from last Friday, but very timely. We thought we would have to share that with you as well to get an update on Melvin Gordon. Well, the Dodgers and Padres play tonight on AM 1220 and 98.1 FM at 7:10 p.m. Thank you, April. Good to have you back.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's so nice to be back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Patrick, thank you. We appreciate that.
Absolutely, Rick. I got you.
Be careful in that fusion, okay? When
Yes,
you're driving around this
sir.
weekend, don't be drifting anywhere.
I won't, sir.
Don't do that. Aaron De La Torre is going to be with you on your drive home. We're going to see you next Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Goodbye.